Welcome back to another episode of the Deep Video 3030 Creator Series. We are joined this evening by Joe Guzman. Joe, tell us what you do, man.
I'm a Renaissance man. I'm a musician, film director. I am a film editor. I am a music producer. So I'm pretty well rounded in those areas. And I do have a day job, but that is of no consequence.
So you're saying the day job doesn't hold you back?
Definitely not. No, I live my life the way I want to live it through the arts, and I'm very, very blessed to do that.
Do you feel like you mentioned quite a few things that you do, right?
Yes.
Do they pull at your heartstrings equally? Is there one maybe niche that kind of has you by the muse, short and curlies, or?
I've been songwriting since I was 15 years old. It's what most naturally comes to me, writing a song, and I kind of, found all the arts kind of as a consequence to wanting to pursue music and wanting to be an independent artist. I feel like a lot of people are waiting to be given a chance, and so I studied everything I could so that I could create my own chances through multimedia and film, music videos, and every facet of what it means to be part of this entertainment industry. And it all started with songwriting, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that you are uniquely positioned to tell a better story filmically because of your background in music? Do you feel that incorporates itself into your pacing of your shots and the way that you want to move forward with the story?
I think all of this music and film and video, when it comes to art and it doesn't involve corporate work, it's all about self-expression. You're telling a story with whatever medium you're given, whether that be a guitar or that's a camera, or whether you're writing a script. You're still telling a story, and you're still able to express yourself. And I suppose as an artist, that's what I value through the different mediums that I've been able to handle in my lifetime. So,
do you have any interesting stories, anecdotes, or challenges in regards to maybe contested ownership of something that you've produced in the past or that you've created? Or
I was in a music group where I wrote most of the lyrics. And I simply wasn't encouraged to be in the position to lead that musical project. So when I left, they kept my lyrics and my intellectual property.
Wow,
and
man.
Most of the songs, I want to say, a good 5 songs were stolen from me.
You didn't get to retain any kind of writer's credit or anything moving forward? Or?
See, that's where I messed up, and that's where you can learn from me.
Okay.
I didn't copyright the words when I should have.
Okay. So it would literally came down to their word against your word.
Exactly.
And they had the numbers on their side, and that's the story, right?
All videography and evidence that had any collaboration in those words were destroyed. So,
man.
Yeah.
How do you? Well, I mean, obviously, right? That's impacted how you move forward with your creative works. Is there anything that you've added to your kit or to deal with the strategy of how to maintain your rights for your ownership, or how to keep things respectful, above board, and then hopefully also lucrative?
Well, I think that all came around as a film student. When I started editing my own videos, it was as simple as putting a subtitle that said, "This is my song," and it was created by my music group or under my name. And
right on.
As soon as you do that, it's a watermark. So it's very difficult for people to impermeate it and say it was theirs from the beginning. If they do, it's intellectual property infringement. Now, the proper way to go about this, the proper channel, is just through the U.S. Copyright Office.
Yeah.
which I've gone through a lot. I went through my last album to make sure that there's no infringement. So, funny thing is, I was asked by former acquaintances, hey, the things that you wrote, you're not really performing them live anymore. Can we use them? And I said, well, of course you can use them, but it would have to be under the premise of a cover,
Right.
and it
Exactly.
won't ever be your song,
Right. That
Yeah.
makes total sense. Now,
Yeah.
and I've seen that before, right?
Yeah.
Where the scene will come together, and there's either a particular artist or a particular band that has the right vibe at the right time, right? And before you know it, multiple bands are covering multiple songs of multiple bands, right? That's how you know you got a good and vibrant scene. But that's kind of crazy. They were trying to just incorporate that into the catalog. So did they bluntly just ask you, "May we buy this song," or was it just kind of a roundabout?
It wasn't even a purchase offer. It's more like, you're not using this. Can I use it?
Ah,
It's kind of a opportunistic bullshit
let me
mentality.
entertain the crowds, man.
And
Yeah.
as if to say, hey, you're not worthy to keep your own material sacred. I think that originality is and self-expression is what this is all about. So, if,
Are you aware of anybody in the scene currently that's found that right balance of self-expression and monetization or what have you? Like, are there bands that are making it, as it were, as far as not necessarily having to pay to play every weekend?
That's a very tough question to answer, because when you're local, you still do both.
Yeah,
You still have to pay to play at times, and you still have to come home to the dive bar to play at times. When you're local, that's just what you do.
Right.
You can have your limelight on Good Morning America. You can have your your moment, your 15 seconds of fame, in the paper.
yeah,
But you're still coming home to play venues like this, like the Grotto,
right.
and you're still stuck in the trenches with the rest of us until you have that national representation, So as far as breaking out, you break out when you break out, and when you break out, it's pretty evident. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
It's not. There's no grayscale for that. But people that stick to their values, as far as originality and self-expression, I am pretty fortunate to say that I know a lot of people here locally that are well on their way to making something out of themselves, who have always stuck to their originality.
right.
Bands like the Fibs, bands like Animal Spirit, bands like the Kush, bands that are so integral to their sound. There's nothing that sounds like them out there.
Right
you
on.
know? And that's really special when you can find a band, a group of people or an artist that's unique, and can stand on their own merit. It's probably the most important thing about being an artist, in my mind.
Okay, so I know, right? The people who are watching don't know, but I know that you know a little bit about a worker-owned cooperative as a business model. Um, do you agree that probably for most people, when they first hear about the business model, they might come off as skeptical, or like, what have you had that experience of trying to explain to somebody what the concept of a worker cooperative is, and if you have, how did that work out for you?
Okay, well, essentially, cooperative scares a lot of people because it sounds communist.
Yeah, that's almost,
Yeah.
and that's actually between socialist this or that or the other, or communist this or that or the other. That seems to be the immediate flash response that I have to overcome when trying to talk about this.
Because everybody wants to keep their company self-contained so that they can make the most money. They want all the money. They want every single penny that comes out of a contract. And they don't realize that, they can't take all the workload by themselves. They need an overhead. They need equipment, And sometimes they are spending out the woozah
right.
for equipment, for overhead, and other services. When there exist cooperatives, which are these essentially large pieces of overhead that serve as an umbrella for smaller companies to work together. And they
Right.
have all the equipment they need, and all the workspace they need, and all the personnel they need to get a contract done.
So I think for us here in North Texas, I think one of the easiest ways to translate what we're talking about, right, is probably to reference Makerspace. Are you familiar with Makerspace out of Dallas?
A little bit, but you can
So
elaborate if you want
it's
to.
from what I understand, I have not personally been out on a tour yet, but from what I understand, it's a giant warehouse like type building, and inside this building are multiple types of machines. I think that this all started from a DIY maker perspective. So we're talking CNC machines, various types of 3D printers, things that allow you to actually craft something into existence from nothing other than computer aided drafting or design, right? And they have a membership program where you pay in X amount and you get access at certain times of day or week to the different facilities that are available there, right? The difference being that it's not necessarily a cooperative. I'm not personally aware of how their business model is structured. I only know that it's not listed as a co-op because I really wish that it were. I'd like to, because it's, in all intents and purposes, everything else about it feels and functions like a cooperative. Would you consider folding in with, let's say, a promotion company or a record label or something along those lines that wanted to become a worker-owned cooperative? Is that
Absolutely.
an awkward idea, or
It's not awkward at all.
No?
I think people need all the help they can get.
yeah?
You know, the little guy, when he's up against the big corporate monster, he needs a good network. Because unless you're MGM, you got to figure it out. You know. So
That's right.
You know, if you're MGM or if you're Warner Brothers, you know, in the music world, you know, you can afford to disregard the idea that you need anybody else. You have enough capital, enough resources to do everything in house.
That's true. Yeah,
know?
they get to just make their own rules as they go forward, don't they?
But as an independent, you know, director or music producer or any other seat in the entertainment industry, you're gonna have to have network as an independent. You're gonna have a vast network. And you have to put in a lot of work on your own if you don't have that network. You know, and it's a
Right.
lot of more investment than just a membership if you have to do everything by yourself.
Well, Joe, is there anything else you want to let folks know about? Is there some music you want to point them to, or anything you'd like to plug?
You know, on a personal note, I'm looking for collaborators on a new album. I have over 40 songs, and I have my own overhead. I have a house studio, so if there's any willing drummers, guitarists, or bassists out there looking to lay down some tracks, definitely reach out to me on my Facebook page. My email is redsunrevolutions@gmail.com. And if you need any freelance work done, I'm a video editor. I'm a director. I'm working on 2 music videos that I'm directing right now. One for the Fibs and the other for Alberto Norell, who's a international electronic artist.
Awesome, man.
I have my hands all over the place, and I'm a man of many talents. So if you feel the need to seek me out, I'm very, very accessible and would love to talk to you on a personal note about just about anything. So,
We'll definitely link your
yeah.
contact info in the video description so they can get a hold of you too.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for being part of this.
Not a
as-
problem. My pleasure.
As we told you earlier, we're trying to move this concept of a worker-owned cooperative forward, and everything you've been able to talk to me about tonight is helpful toward that goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.